Well, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Me Eating Crow. I think it's been a couple months since I made a video like this, or a couple weeks. I think the last one I did was on Quinn Ewers, and I think the one previous to that was Geno Smith, on just how wrong I was about those two gentlemen. And today, I want to give you 4 players that I was wrong about going into this season. Some good, some bad, and we're going to go ahead and break it down. You know, in the comments below, let me know who you were wrong about. Those 4 players today that I'm going to be talking about: Gardner or Sauce. I hate the name. You know, everybody keeps saying Sauce, but I'll wait till the end of the year if he's deserving of that name. But right now, we'll get into what I think about him. Mike Williams from the Chargers, the wide receiver. Man, yeah, we got to talk about that one too. Carson Wentz. I'll tell you the debacle that I got into this season with that. And then Bryce Young from Alabama, so we'll throw a college player in there as well. So you know how we do. These are 4 players that I was wrong about in different ways. Sauce Gardner, wherever you want to pronounce his name. No disrespect to him, but the kid's been playing lights out. Has allowed 0 touchdowns this year. In the last couple of games, he's been in the PFF like top 5, I believe. Got 1 interception on the year. Believe he's got a safety this year. Anytime they throw to his side, he's an absolute lockdown cornerback. Now, if we look at the trajectory of all the DBs that have come out from the Jets or got drafted there, I mean, you can go to the Antonio Cromarties of the world. You know, you can also bring up the Darrelle Revis. I mean, he was on the island of his own. Future Hall of Famer. He's going to get in first ballot for sure. So, I mean, you have those type of players there. I mean, you can throw Jamal Adams there as well as part of being part of those elite DBs. And, you know, he's playing out of his mind. Such a bright spot for that team. And I believe they're 5-2 right now, which is insane to think about. Gardner, maybe at the end of the year I'll call you Sauce, but not right now. But the first couple games that you've played, the first half of the season, you've been an incredible talent. I don't think you're better than Derek Stingley Jr. quite yet, but when you think about all the cornerbacks that came out in this draft, I mean, Trent McDuffie, I know he played his first week, he looked great. Derek Stingley Jr., you got Sauce, you got Tariq Woolen, who I think should be in consideration for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And just, you know, there's so many other cornerbacks out there. Kobe Bryant, you know, who was, you know, Ahmad's teammate in Cincinnati. Kyler Gordon is having a really great year. So when you start looking at the trajectory of like all the rookies that have come out, it's been an incredible sight to see, you know, for these young guys. And I hope they continue to have really, really good careers moving forward. Now let's get into Mike Williams. This dude got paid 3 years, $60 million. And I'm like, what the hell is going on in the league? Why are we paying him that much for the production that he put up? And let me tell you, the biggest test for Mike Williams this year was to see if he could become the -- 1 receiver. Now, but we look at the trajectory of the Chargers this year, they've had some injuries. I mean, Joey Bosa's been out, even though I know he's been, you know, he's on the defensive side of the ball. J.C. Jackson does not look healthy. And then you look over and Justin Herbert ended up getting injured early in the season. But Mike Williams has always been the bright spot, has made some incredible catches. He solidified himself to me as their #1 receiver moving forward for the future. And what a test for Keenan Allen being out for most of the year so far and him stepping up to the plate. Now, when you talk about, you know, fate couldn't have happened in a better way for him. You know, granted, we don't celebrate player injuries, but capitalize on people's injuries like Bailey Zappi is doing with Mac Jones. Mike Williams is stepping up to the plate and showing that it's okay for Keenan to take a back seat, and what a wonderful thing it is. And I know he just had this ankle injury over the weekend, and I hope he, you know, recovers for that. Hope you have a speedy recovery, Mike, but I was totally wrong about you, and I severely apologize. Carson Wentz, I literally thought, from all the media reports, shout out to my boy George Carmi, had him on the show talking about his team. Carson Wentz started out looking kind of good. You know, him and Jahan Dotson, you started hearing about their relationship in the offseason and some of the positive things from practice, and some teammates coming out and say Carson is not what everybody says he is. And, you know, I am eating a little bit of humble pie right now because I had these guys going 14-3.
Boo this man!
just based off the talent, mostly from that defense. But with all the pieces that they have on that offense, like Antonio Gibson taking a backseat to Brian Robinson, to me was a little slap in the face for what he did last year. And I was totally wrong about Antonio Gibson. He's another guy that I have to mention. But Brian Robinson is now the running back #1. And he's looked very average to bad. A lot of the games that they lost were totally his fault. It kind of is reminding me of when he was with the Colts last year. He could have thrown several picks this year that were just dropped, or that he just got lucky that were outside of the zones that he was thrown in, because he could have had 5,000 interceptions this year, and that's not the case. A lot of these losses have to fall on his shoulders, and it's never good when your coach throws you kind of under the bus and say that you're the problem. And shout out to Taylor Heineke, man. Had a very good game this week, and Taylor Heineke this season 1-0. But I was totally wrong about Carson Wentz, not in a good way. I totally overhyped this dude, thinking that he was not going to have the pressure that he had playing for the Philadelphia Eagles or the Colts, because of Frank Reich's situation and the situation that they tried to put him around. And I said it last year, if he loses, if he does bad, it's his own fault. And I should have used that same rhetoric this year, and I didn't. I drank the Kool-Aid. Last guy that I did want to talk about with you guys today is Bryce Young. Bryce Young, I had said this season in several videos that I think CJ Stroud is going to win the Heisman. And it's kind of looking like that. If Ohio State wins out, there's no way that CJ Stroud is not going to win. We have Hendon Hooker, who could step into place, and if they beat Georgia and find themselves winning the SEC championship and find themselves in the contention for a college football playoff, because they're sitting at #3 right now, Hendon Hooker is going to win it. I don't know who else is worthy of winning it. I say all that to say this. I said that I don't think CJ Stroud has met his ceiling, but I think Bryce Young had last year, especially after that Auburn game where incredible, man. Had his Heisman moment. That game totally sealed the deal for him. This year, the adversity after adversity, the Texas game, through the game at Tennessee where he was getting hit several times, and you hate to see that stuff after a guy that just come off an injury. I was like, oh my gosh, please don't let this be another Tua situation. He's another small guy as well. I think he's still undersized for the position, but the throws that he makes, has every single tool in the toolkit, great leader, has a great relationship with his coach. I mean, say what you want, that offensive line has not been perfect at Alabama. They really don't know who their running backs or their #1 wide receivers are right now, and he's slinging it to everybody. I know Hendon Hooker beat Alabama in that Tennessee game, but I think their performance completely overshadow how Bryce Young is and how good of a quarterback he is. And he proved it the last game as well. The guy is an incredible talent, man. I was totally wrong saying that he met his ceiling, when his ceiling is just getting higher and higher and higher. I'm willing to go out and say right now that Bryce Young is the best quarterback in the nation. Love Hendon Hooker, love CJ Stroud. Max Duggan out at TCU is doing this thing. There's so many good quarterbacks. Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. You got Grayson McCall, that's a great quarterback down there in Coastal Carolina. There's so many great quarterbacks, I can't name them all. And who's sitting on top of the throne right now, especially from last year, and if he keeps playing the way that he is, Bryce Young should win the Heisman again. I just don't know, based off of the loss that they took to Tennessee, and the close wins that they've had. One naming the Texas Longhorns when they just lost to Oklahoma State over the weekend, and Quinn Ewers didn't look too hot, but I still have belief in that kid too. But Bryce Young, I apologize, man. You're balling out. I love to see young players prove us wrong, and I love doing these type of videos where I'm eating crow and kind of looking at the other side of the fence, because we got to be real with ourselves at the end of the day. We don't know everything. We're not on that field. We're not in those four walls of those meeting rooms. We're not in every single practice, and most importantly, we are not these players personally. So I hope everybody takes that into account. And just moving forward, everybody just enjoy watching good football. Never try to put stereotypes on these players. What I do is I just take an evaluation on what I've seen on the field from some of these players, and I was totally wrong. From Gardner to Mike Williams to Carson Wentz, and now to Bryce Young being in college. So always try to be optimistic. It's okay to be critical from what you've seen, and I've been that, but also know when to take a step back and be critical of yourself for the things that you've said, and to have an open mind for players out that are young and still trying to learn. With that being said, guys, I leave you with this video with nothing more to say other than we appreciate everybody that's been following, liking, subscribing to every single channel, every single social media outlet that we have out there. We're going to continue to pump these things out. We hope to see you on the East Coast Gridiron podcast on Tuesdays. Thursdays, we do our preview shows. Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, we do our college and our NFL preview shows. And Monday nights, we preview the game as well. So, and if you like the gaming side of the channel, we do the NCAA 14 college football revamp series. We got 2 series going on right now. So if you like video games and you subscribe for that, we usually do those on Fridays, and every once in a while I might pop up and do a surprise stream like I did last night on a Sunday during all the games. But appreciate everybody that's come through. Appreciate everybody that's liked, subscribed the channel. We couldn't do this without you, and we hope that there's more exciting things for not only you but for us in the future. With that being said, my name is Dante from the East Coast Gridiron podcast. We'll see you guys later.